analysis and that plan. So even previously, the United States of America was made aware.
Well, that's certainly interesting because the US seems to say it doesn't know what Russia's game is. We'll see here at the UN, no doubt. May I ask you, sir, Bashar Assad has been propped up by Iran, by Hezbollah, by Russia, even before ISIS came on the scene. I asked the Prime Minister of Russia more than a year ago, I've asked the Russian ambassador more than a year ago, why would you support somebody who has killed 100,000 people of his own, who's using barrel bombs, chemical weapons? And now I ask you, why is it in Iran's interest to support somebody who has now killed 250,000 of his own people, sent 10 million of his own people scurrying around the country for safety, leaving the country, trying to come to Europe? Why is that good for Iran to support that kind of man, who many people say is responsible for ISIS, Daesh in the first place?
The truth is that there are two distinctly different pictures about Syria. One of them is the one you have just explained, which is principally spoken about in detail in the West and in America in particular. There is another interpretation in Iran and in other regional countries, and particularly perhaps as well in Russia. You do know that at the time when we were fighting against Iraq and Saddam Hussein attacked Iran, subsequent to which we fought an 8-year war of holy defense, one of the few countries in the region that stood with us steadfastly against Saddam Hussein was President Bashar Assad's father, former President Hafez al-Assad. So going back to that time, we formed a very close relationship with this country. So Syria, in the region, is considered and is one of our oldest friends in the region. But what is occurring today in Syria, perhaps there are some issues with the governance of President Assad, and perhaps some opposition members do seek a more open political environment in Syria. But the truth of the matter is that the principal threat and danger today in Syria emanates from Daesh or ISIL. Daesh is extremely cruel and very savage. They do not believe in any framework, in any ideals, in any values, any human values. So we must all believe and accept that today in Syria, the number one objective must be the fight against terrorism and the defeat of Daesh or ISIL. Our second priority must be a political reform.
But when will that happen? And we'll have more of our interview with President Rouhani after a break. But first, earlier today, at the podium, President Obama described Iranians as a proud people full of potential, but he also had this message right after Iran and the US have signed this landmark historic nuclear deal.
Chanting death to America does not create jobs or make a lot more secure.
Coming up next, as I said, more of my interview with President Rouhani, who has some frank talk of his own about American attacks on his country, and that is next.